Hello, welcome back to the Muscle Report. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sheriff Alfonso Williams with the Burke County Sheriff's Office. It's good to be with you again today. Welcome back to part 2. On our first series, we talked to you about operational effectiveness and leadership, and you got to meet Colonel Webster and Colonel Chad Plueger. They're still here with us. We're talking about the budget in this segment, in this part 2. We're talking about our finances. There's been a lot of questions surrounding our finances in the Sheriff's Office. We're very transparent. We're here to answer those questions. We're going to do that for you today. We want you to stay tuned with us and come back with us after the break as well. But we want you to know that you can trust us and trust our product. We're in the budget work sessions are coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We want you to be engaged. We want you to be informed. Don't be misguided by this $2.8 million deficit. $1.8 million of that is simply that they cut out 12 positions which were formerly grant funded by 3 different organizations. If we needed the money then to keep you safe, we still need it now that those grants have ended. Nothing stays the same. I can tell you that cars have gone up. Liability insurance has gone up. The cost of uniforms are up. The cost of salaries are up. Every year, this county gives a budgeting, a salary increase for merit and COLA. I have no control over that. So naturally, our salaries will go up. Our insurance costs are up. $10,000 deductible if a deer hits our car. $10,000. I have no control. I don't get to navigate any of that. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Thank you so much. We thank you for trusting us and trusting our product. We'll see you after the break. Sometimes our citizens say, well, why do we need a SWAT team? Why can't you use the SWAT team out of Augusta or some other place? You know, why is it that Burke County has a SWAT team, and is that an effective use of our tax dollars?
I can call 2 reasons right off the bat. First of all is when we need that resource, we need it immediately. And to have time for another agency to send a SWAT or special response team that's minutes that are getting away from us. The other part is that our folks know our area, and that information, that knowledge is invaluable. Now, I'm sure we could sit here and list many other, reasons to have a team, but our cost effectiveness on that team is something that I could defend all day long.
But it costs a lot to train. They have to put in a lot of hours. They're very dedicated to what they do, and not only do you have to put in the training, but they need equipment. They need firepower. They need ammunition. They need training tools. They need less lethal weapons. They need lethal weapons. They need training on those weapons, and it's very costly. And so people see our MRAP, or that big military-style looking vehicle, and they wonder, do we really need that in Burke County? We've used that during storms. We've used it during standoffs. We just had a standoff in the Walmart parking lot April. Masters Week of this year. And so we've used it a number of times. We pulled trees out of the road with it. It was given to us through the 1033 program, so we didn't have to pay for it. But I think sometimes the public just doesn't understand what we need, which is why it comes down to trust. You got to trust the sheriff that you've elected to keep you safe. And we know best what tools and resources we need to get the job done. Would you agree?
I would certainly agree. And it is a valuable. You mentioned something in there, training with less lethal weapons, and I think that is we've got an excellent record of training. We've also got an excellent record of solving some of these problems using less lethal force, and that limits loss of life. And I think we have a very good track record in that regard.
We have. And I thank God for our folks who have the right temperament, the right judgment, the right training, education, experience, knowledge, skills, abilities, and to make the right decisions. And we've done really well over the last 9.5 years.
I agree.
In that regard.
I think when we're talking about budget, Sheriff, we're talking about people saying we're asking for money I think we need to also make sure people understand how much money we have grant-wise, millions of dollars brought in to help supplement this ourselves.
We have over
know?
$15 million in the last nine and a
Yeah.
half years, and that rarely gets talked about.
Yeah.
That's where we have taken the initiative to go out and find state and federal funding, local private donations to help offset the cost to taxpayers. We have put that out there. We have talked about it. It doesn't make the 6 o'clock news, and so people often forget what we've put out there. But we have been very judicious about telling folks what we've done and the resources that we've brought in to help offset cost to taxpayers. But sometimes it gets lost in the weeds, but it doesn't hurt to remind people that we have done a very adequate job of
I absolutely agree with Chad, and also I'd like to point out that I think we've done a much better job of spending the money that we have been given than people really understand. They always hear about us wasting money. The three of us may disagree with the way we have spent a penny, but that doesn't mean that one is right and one is wrong.
Yeah.
But I think the way that we've spent our money, I'm just looking at how safe the citizens are of Burke County.
That's right.
Looking at the money cost benefit of what we have spent. And
I say it all the time.
I'm amazed at that.
I think we have done a good job. Nobody's going to always agree on everything. It's understanding the budget. It's understanding the different pots of money. You might be able to take this money and do a certain thing, or a grant might require a certain action to be taken. And folks would say, well, if you need deputies, why did you go buy this? Or if you needed this equipment, why did you go buy this? And it comes down to trust, because at the end of the day, people are in search of two things, one of two things, truth or doubt. If you're looking for doubt, you're going to find doubt. If you're looking for truth, you're going to find truth. We're one of the only law enforcement entities in this entire central Savannah River area who issues a written report, an annual report every year, detailing every call for service, our community events, our community initiatives, our calls for service, the number of tickets we write, the number of tickets we warn. All of that is chronicled in our annual report. It's all on our website for you to find from 2017 to present. You can go to our website, pull it up, and see what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, the initiatives that we're engaged in. So we're very transparent. Yes. And if you want to find it, you will. And if you're not looking for it and you're not interested in the truth, then you'll just find out. And so we have this deficit because we obviously have a huge disagreement with our commission and the county manager, and that's really unfortunate. And I know this community is tired of us bickering and making a mockery of this county. I just want to put out there to the citizens that we have tried. We have gone and extended the olive branch on a dozen occasions. We are waiting on a judge for 6 months now to render a decision in a court case we had in November of 2025. We need that relief. We're praying that the judge will come back any day now and give us some relief through the law. Yeah. And our attorneys did a really good job. We want to do right. We want to be responsible. Crime is lower than the state averages and the national averages here in Burke County. We're doing all we can to keep the people safe. Our response times are averaging 13 minutes response time from the time you call 911 or call the sheriff's office to the time a deputy shows up at your house. In the second largest county in the state of Georgia, 835 square miles, and we have a 13-minute average response time. That is remarkable within itself, but it takes funding and resources and training to get that done. And when they show up in that record response time, they got to know what they're doing. They got to know the law. They got to have the right tools and equipment to mitigate the circumstances and not aggravate the circumstances. Right. And so our folks are safe. We're just not tolerating drug dealing. We're not tolerating stealing. We're not tolerating this violence that's going on, domestic violence and that sort of thing. But we're here to help this community as well. We're not heavy-handed with traffic enforcement. No. We're not trying to generate revenue from traffic enforcement, but we are trying to ensure voluntary compliance with the law so that our families are safe when they're traversing our roadways and going to and from. So that's it in a nutshell for us. That's what this command staff is doing. Would you agree?
Well, I'd like to give an example, and we were all very involved in this several years ago with the school zone cameras. And what most people didn't realize, I don't believe, is that we had several deaths right in that little 1 mile location at our school zone, which is completely unacceptable. I mean, our most precious cargoes go through that every day. And so working with this outside company, we contracted to put in these school zone cameras. We had a huge amount of pushback. It was not about raising money. It's nothing to do with funding. It's all about bringing awareness. We put deputies out there. The city puts deputies out there. We write tickets. No response. We still had deaths. We have not had a death in that zone since those school cameras went effective.
Point very well taken, certainly.
And that is, I think, the success that we have helped create. And I know it's working because when I travel through that area and I'm behind cars,
you see the brake
lights come on.
They do. And I tell you, out of all the calls we get for people who get those citations there, many of them don't challenge it, but the ones who call never say, I didn't do it. Because the cameras still give you 10 miles over the posted speed limit,
it does.
even in that area. So there's never a challenge. It's usually, well, I got a second ticket before I could pay the first one. But I never hear anybody say, I didn't do it.
Yeah. Not a single person.
Not a single person. That is so true.
And it's, like I say, I think the success is apparent. And it's certainly raised some money for the county budget, but that's not the goal. The goal was safety. And I fear for the future if the camera leaves that zone, because we don't. That's our protection, and it's not local. I mean, there is many local people that travel through there, but the problem is it's a major 4-lane thoroughfare, and those are the type accidents we've had out there. So that would be my example of proactive.
Well, I think we've really shown that we have the judicious temperament and that we're not heavy-handed in our traffic enforcement. I think we run a very fair agency. And in closing, I'll let both of you tackle this question. What makes Burke County Sheriff's Office unique compared to other agencies or other sheriff's offices?
I think it's our progressiveness and our proactive approach.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think so too. It's our communication, our service that we provide to the community. Other agencies provide, but we do. That's our strong point, and we try to, serve people. And I think that's where we're at.
Trying to figure what works here in Burke County is the hardest job that we have.
Yeah, I've just always said we're not going to do the job badly. I'd rather not be the sheriff if we got to do a bad job at what we're doing. So often, especially from a budget standpoint, we get compared to other counties. Well, this county or that county doesn't have a SWAT team, or this county or that county doesn't have as many investigators, or this agency uses state agencies like the GBI or the Georgia State Patrol. Why can't y'all cut back on personnel and use those state agencies or those state resources? Well, in accidents, when I got here 9.5 years ago, they were calling in the Georgia State Patrol to work minor accidents. We'd have citizens sitting on the side of the road for 45 minutes waiting on a trooper to come from some remote area of the state to work an accident. Yes. That's not fair to the folks paying taxes, and so we eliminated that. Or we're not using state investigative resources, because oftentimes those folks come in and they bring state resources, and we need those state resources, but we need them at the crime lab.
Yes.
We don't need them in an investigative capacity. And so we know our county, we know our people, we know our taxpayers, we know the folks we're serving. We know we have the informants. We have the knowledge and the tools and resources to get the job done, and that's why we do it locally and we do it in-house. So I would agree with both of you.
Yeah.
We provide a great service. We understand the societal ills, and we're working to fix those. So secondly, I'll let you both answer this. What are you most proud of that your team has accomplished in the past year? Lee, your investigative services and
I can just say that I consider us to be shorthanded, and just getting the job done that we have accomplished. And I can give you many examples, but I mean, just getting the job. And I think an important part of our job is the things that we aren't able to provide in-house. We need to know who our partners are so that we can immediately tap into those resources. I mean, you mentioned the GBI lab is the greatest resource, one of the greatest resources that we have, but we also deal with GBI, we also deal with FBI, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. I mean, we're dealing with, I mean, we've learned, yes, DEA, we've learned who we can get the information from the quickest.
Yeah, and Department of Natural Resources, they're helping us on this missing person situation
right now.
Yeah,
and they have things at their disposal that we have to know who we can call on. And the team aspect of this whole, I think that's our biggest.
DOT, Department of Transportation. We had a number of fatalities on Highway 25 South. We were able to work with them to get some
and actually get some help done with fixing the actual problems that created the death. So I appreciate our partners and the knowledge and the ability to recall who we can partner with to get the things done that we can't provide on a daily basis in-house.
Sure. Chad, what would you say
I
has
agree
been?
with the team concept. What comes to mind to me is I think of how we've kept our response time so low, even given the fact that we have lost 12 positions that we continuously each year try to get back through that grant. And those deputies have came, and even shorthanded with CID, we've created FSU now. So we come together to try to think of other ways to make a division to assist everybody else.
Yes.
And I think we come together as a team to get that done.
One of our employees was leaving to go work north of us last year, and he said, well, I'm going to go work with another agency, and I appreciate the opportunity. He said, well, I know it's coming up on a year, and it seems like every year you make some changes. And if it doesn't, if it's not working, why do we continue to do it? My mother used to say there's nothing to be learned from the second kick of a mule.
Yes.
We do make changes yearly. We make adjustments. We look to see what's working, what's not working, what can work better. And so part of our operational effectiveness is that we're able to engage and find ways to make things work. What message would you like to share with the citizens of Burke County about the work being done behind the scenes to keep our community safe? I know from a sheriff's standpoint, it's having leaders such as yourselves who care. You care about folks. You're here because you care, because you know this community, because you live here, you pay taxes here, you farm here, you've been here all your life, and you really care. That's why you're where you are. Mm-hmm. Chad, you're where you are because you have the right heart. You go out of the extra mile. You go out of your way to help people. We're not friends before you guys got these positions. It's just because you care and because you get the job done, you go the extra mile. And that's really what I'm most proud of, is that we have people in positions of authority who care and care about the people of Burke County.
Yeah. I was just one thing that popped in my mind is I have people call me every day, and the first thing they do is they apologize for calling. It's like, I hate to bother you. I know you're busy. Well, I'm sitting there thinking, this is my job. Mm-hmm. And what I guess one of the things I'm most amazed about is that, I was part of some other county organizations that they do not want to hire people from outside the county. And I understand that when you hire people from outside of the county, you're bringing in people that have to learn the area, but that's part of police work, is know where you're policing.
Yeah.
And I have been amazed with the group of people that we work with, that how well they have seized on the knowledge of the community. I remember,
it's because they're getting it from the top leadership.
Well, these are the right people in the right places.
Right.
That's their mindset.
If we didn't care, they wouldn't care.
They've learned the people, they've learned the area, and that's how I think that's some of the secret to our success is that concept, knowing where you're policing and knowing who you're dealing with. And I do not mind people calling me. I want to try to get them some help, and I know that everybody I work with, that's the same idea.
Yeah. And I would just tell them just to continue to trust us. We're going to be here to serve you. Same thing. Call us. We're going to be here to help you. And like you said, the truth or doubt, just search for the truth. We're here to trust and, trust in us.
Look for the truth. We're open. We're transparent. Yeah. Looking ahead, what opportunities, what challenges you see facing the Burke County Sheriff's Office in the next 5 years, very quickly.
One is we're still budget. Budget is one thing that I can come to mind because we need those resources and we need a budget to do it. So vehicles, we need vehicles.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I would agree that our number one challenge is going to be budget, and the reason is not foolishly spending money. It's because we're handling 80 to 90,000 calls in a year.
Yeah.
We're running a detention facility where you have medical issues and things that are high dollar cost wise, and I just believe that we're gonna have these challenges, and it's a conversation, but we have to determine what is real, what is absolute priority. I mean, we can't let, as we've seen lately, we can't let an inmate go without medical care. I mean, we judges will order that our medical care be provided.
With a $2.8 million deficit, it's not hard to understand. If you understand that we lost 12 positions that were formerly grant funded by 3 different grant organizations, that's $1.2 million. And if you're getting a cost of living adjustment and a merit increase, which Burke County gives, not the sheriff, but Burke County government gives every year, then that number goes up each year. We started at $1.2 million 5 years ago, and now we're somewhere up at $1.8 million. The other $1 million deficit is because they've cut the budget significantly in a number of operational areas that we need. So 12 positions is $1.8 million. The other $1 million is because they have cut us significantly because we have these challenges. We need the technology. We need the infrastructure. We need the cameras. We need the cars. We need the tools and resources to get the job done. When you have a ring stolen, you expect us to have a pawn report so that we can go look at everybody who's pawned rings to see if your ring, your wedding band has been pawned. We have that ability. If we don't pay the technology, we can't do that. So when you're asking our investigators to use tools and resources to help solve your case, then you got to understand that we got to have that technology. 9.5 years ago when I got here, we didn't have computers in cars.
Right.
I had computers in cars when I was the police chief of Waynesboro in 2011. But we didn't have it here at Burke County Sheriff's Office until we got here 9.5 years ago. That cost. We're in remote areas. They got to have internet in their cars.
Connectivity.
We don't use substations in offices anymore where officers are sitting behind desks. Their office is their car. They've got to have the tools and resources. We got to pay cell phone bills for our investigators and supervisors. They got to have it. They're laying in the woods watching a drug house for 2 or 3 days. They've got to have the ability to communicate. That ability to communicate might not be with the radio. In some instances it is. Other instances we need a cell phone. They got to be able to communicate with the folks they're working with. Those are the basic things we need. $700,000 of that $2.8 million is school resource officers. Costs us about $700,000 a year. We get fully reimbursed from the school system. So don't look at the $2.8 million deficit and say the sheriff is asking for $2.8 million. What's he done with the money? We've been underfunded. We have not overspent. And I think that's really important. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Muster Report. We hope that you got a true introspection into our budget processes. On the previous video, you got to learn about the inner workings of the Sheriff's Office and how operational effectiveness and leadership ensures trust and accountability. You know that you can always trust us. You can trust our product. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Muster Report.